Sup, Hardies and
And
Hardos.
whoop,
All the switcheroo. Thank you. I like being
start
on
with
this
the
side.
switcheroo.
I'd rather be on the left side anyway, so you guys can see my lovely Timberwolves flag because it's that time of year, and that's what we're about to talk about with our guest, Trevor. It's been a while since you've been on here, Trevor. We're glad to have you back on.
It's been a minute. Glad to be back talking NBA. I like talking NBA a little bit more, especially when the Chargers are very disappointing and I don't want to talk about the NFL. But
hey, a lot of season left to turn it around for the Chargers.
A lot of season.
A lot of injuries to your top 6 players, also. That's classic Chargers move right there.
Yeah, we're missing the season ender to like Herbert or Derwin James. So that's coming. That's what we're too.
I hope not. I don't want to see that. We're gonna start the episode here talking Eastern Conference. A lot of predictions we're gonna go through today. As you can see, this is our playoff prediction. We got seeds 1 through 8. We got our play-in predictions as well as our Eastern Conference champion prediction. We might as well start at the top. We all have the Bucks, the 1 seed, and winning it all. That kind of surprises me that we're all on the same page there. But what separates the Bucks in your guys' eyes from the rest of these teams? Is it just Giannis?
Classic that everybody says, but if the Bucks would have had Middleton last year, they would have won. And I think that they are still the best team. And even though the Celtics are slightly better player-wise, they're obviously slightly worse coach-wise, and who knows what the vibe is going on with that.
Yeah, and I just think I didn't even notice yet I'm at 4. Yeah, that's a good. But I'm with you on the Bucks. I think it's just come playoff time, having 3 players as good as Holiday, Middleton, and Giannis can just swing a playoff, which we almost saw in that second round last year where Holiday kind of stole that game from the Celtics. If you just have star players like that, you can just really swing a series. And then given the fact that that group's been together longer than anyone else on the Eastern side, and same with the coach and the roster, I just think they're really tough to beat from top to bottom. And then Giannis being Giannis, I think that just wins you. They should win at least 45 regular season games. So they should be at least in the top, we have them all in the top 3 seeds. We have them all at 1. Look at that. I don't think they're going to be outside of the top 3 seeds. So they should be set up really well for the playoffs. And I don't see a team beating them.
Sorry for my interruption on your take, Trevor, but I do want to ask Bus.
You want to get the Celtics at 4?
I want to get right into it right now, yeah.
Okay. I got Celtics at 4. I expect a little bit of a championship run hangover for them. Obviously, top 4 seed in a really good Eastern Conference. The East is definitely not what it used to be, 5 to 10 years ago. And I expect them to just drop back a little bit. You got the Ime situation. I don't know how they're going to be able to play without Ime, because I really think Ime was a huge difference maker on that team. His coaching was incredible. And I don't know, they just seem to have a certain type of fire when he was out there. But, it could be the opposite effect too without Ime. Maybe they're more motivated to show that they can still get it done. So it's not that I don't have faith in them to still be good and be a possible 1 or 2 seed. It's just I expect a little bit of a championship hangover. And then when you got these other teams like the 76ers and the Heat, who are still loaded up everywhere, they might be able to squeeze past the Celtics and get a better record. So that's just kind of my thoughts on the Celtics. I know, Spinny, you're not liking that take, though.
No, I basically said everything about that, and the reason I didn't have them at 1. I do think going to a coach that you don't know anything about is risky. I think that they wish this would have came out earlier so that Will Hardy could be the coach right now. That would be ideal for them. But I get it from that perspective. I just think the Heat, I just don't know if they can be healthy enough, and they're not nearly as deep as Boston. So having them with a better record throughout the regular season was kind of a surprise to me.
And that's what I'm going to ask. And I don't know how long you should know, Spinny, but how long is Rob Williams out? Because I have the Celtics at 2, but I was debating dropping them a bit because I don't know how long he's going to be out. And then I know we all are thinking of like the playoffs and the late season run last year, but this Celtics team started out terribly, and if they're in that same situation again, I don't see them having a big turnaround again. And that would leave them at like a 4 or a 5 seed again.
Yeah, that Rob Will injury definitely played into my prediction as well. I believe 8 to 12 weeks. I might be wrong with that.
But that was from the surgery time. So
from the surgery, which was, we're talking what, 6 weeks now left?
Yeah, so 6 weeks is what I was thinking of time missed.
Yeah.
Potentially, missing up to like 20 games, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That would be
15 to 20, somewhere in there.
15 to 20. Yeah. So almost a quarter of the season, if they're not able to start off hot without him, that might be huge. And that was a guy I honestly even considered for DPOY this season. If he was going to be able to stay healthy, he was in the talks already last year, and he's definitely a difference maker out there for the Celtics. I guess I want to jump to the Nets now, given they still have KD, still have Kyrie. Simmons is actually going to play for once. I'm surprised that none of us are even more confident in the Nets. Is this just because we just don't truly trust the trio, or we don't trust the ability to stay healthy, the drama? What is it for you guys?
I think, the drama and the injury are kind of hand in hand. I just don't think those three are going to play enough games together. Or I guess I don't trust the ability for them to play games together. If they do, and this is why it's like the playoffs could be a totally different story if they're all there. But if they do, I would not be surprised to see them like win 52 games, right around that number. But it's just such a big ask when KD and Kyrie haven't played a full season in forever, let alone, the majority of the season. And then Simmons is like the ultimate wild card if there's ever been a wild card. Like if he plays, and then even if he does play, is he still good? I don't know. I just saw the video on Twitter the other day of him like absolutely airballing a free throw, and it's like
that had to be on purpose, right? There's no way that was because this man was from 10 feet away. You're talking about the outside practice little turnaround thing.
Yeah,
he was literally 12 feet away. Like, come on.
I'd like to think, but the evidence says otherwise. I don't know. The last time we saw him, he was afraid to shoot a layup. So, it was a dunking range. He was afraid to dunk the ball. So I just don't know what you can really expect out of him. Like, I love Durant. I wanted to put Durant as a potential MVP pick, and I think he still could be top 3 if he plays enough games. But as we saw in the playoffs last year, it's no longer like, okay, we have Kevin Durant, we should at least make it to the second round. Like, the East is too good nowadays, especially if they're not winning a ton of regular season games. If you're looking at a first round matchup with Bucks, Celtics, 76ers, like that's a tough ask.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be in that bottom 4, having to play one of those top 4 teams. That's for sure. Looking at our bottom, I agree with your thoughts, though, for the most part on the Nets, though, Trevor. Another thing with the Nets that I thought of is the lack of big men. They are going to be playing Claxton and Deron Sharp the vast majority of the minutes. They don't have anyone else at big man. So I think they're going to get destroyed.
Giannis and
Embiid,
Rob Will, Siakam, Mobley and Allen. Let's go on and on and on and on about it.
Yeah.
No rebounds.
Yeah, no rebounds, no defense.
Ben Simmons can play defense on your wing defense would be fine now, but you have to have a somewhat decent rim protector in the NBA. Like you have to. He has to be respectable, because otherwise you're going to get dominated. And I think that's the worry for me with the Nets more than anything else.
Agree. Facts. Looking at the bottom 4 here, we're all in agreement on the Raptors and Cavs. Those are 2 teams that I don't anticipate them missing the playoffs, right? Like they got to be in. They're too loaded. The Cavs getting Donovan Mitchell on their side. I guess that will be interesting to see how that all meshes. But this is a team with the Donovan Mitchell addition has the potential to climb into that top 4. I honestly think so. With how good they are interior defense and on the offense, Ben.
Yeah, I would have them as my biggest likelihood to jump from last year. Because, if Mitchell works like he did on Utah and Mobley works in the same way as Gobert, and you still have Allen, another rim protector, plus you have Garland who can take the ball handling responsibilities away from Mitchell so he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands 70% of the time. And I just think it can all work together. And Garland, I really think is a special player. I think he could average 10 assists per game, which I think is something you really only get out of And I think that can propel a team to wins if it all works ideal. So,
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cavs jumped up into those top 4, because if you look at last year, that's exactly where they were before Jared Allen got hurt.
Right.
And going back to what we just said, the Nets lack, that's what the Cavs can kill you with when they have Mobley and Allen, and they're just a huge team. And Garland's like a great playmaker. And last year they really got hosed when Allen got hurt. They started losing a bunch of games, and then come the final 3 minutes of a game, they just basically had to give the ball to Garland and say, hey, make something happen. That's not really his play style. However, that's exactly Donovan Mitchell's play style. So now they have someone that can do that. So keep those big two healthy. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like a 3 seed, like just out of nowhere, win a ton of regular season games. Again, playoff is a different story, but I think they have the players there finally that they can win a lot of games.
Yeah, and maybe we're all a year too early on the Cavs, but this is a team that has all their guys locked up for how long? Allen's on a deal. Garland, they just re-signed. Donovan Mitchell's obviously still on his Jazz deal. Mobley's on his rookie contract. So they got all their pieces for the next however many years. So this is a team to not mess with going forward for sure. I want to talk about Spinny's take here. I know I took it off the screen, but of the Pistons making the playoffs, or at least being the 8th seed heading into the play-in, what are your thoughts on the Pistons? I feel like that's a little too much faith in that young core.
I just have faith in the young core coming up. I think Cade could jump up to 22 to 23 points a game this year. And if that happens, you get Ivy at 15. Is 14, 15? Is that unreasonable? I don't know. That's pretty high, but I think if you can get him on that level, you got Sadiq banging threes. He could be in the top 5 in 3-pointers made this year in the league. I think that is a possibility given where we saw last year. I just have faith in those 3 overall, and I think that they could surprise some people and sneak in.
I'm with you.
Go
ahead, Bus. Okay. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if I think one of those young teams will sneak in. I'm not sure if it'll be the Pistons. I do like Cade, and Ivy, I think those two are going to be awesome together. But I really want to put the Magic on there too for kind of the same reason. And I think this could be the year where a young team sneaks in there because there's a gap there, right? It's after, I think we all probably had the Hawks in there, but then that 10th team, total wild card. And last year that was the Hornets, who that's a mess. I mean, Book Knight just got arrested today, so who knows with them? Like they're pretty much out of there. And then it's wide open for there because the Pacers aren't going to be winning games. I think someone had the Wizards in there, but who knows? It could easily be where you get Orlando in there or you get the Pistons in there. Just one of those young teams where they click right away and they're able to string some wins together.
And I should have put Hawks over Pacers for sure. That was an oversight by me. I think the Hawks will be in the playoffs. We're going to correct myself from my own take and say that
good.
Hawks out of the 10 over the Pacers.
But they're so disappointing. Like they will, or at least I'd hope they'd at least get that 10 seed. But like you think of a team that was in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago.
And traded 3 first-round picks for a star.
Yeah, I like the quotes. Thank you for the quotes.
We don't have DeJounte Murray faith here?
I don't know if we do. I'm just not guaranteeing it.
Right.
I feel like
it's just 2 guards. I've never liked the 2 guards who are on bad teams and can kind of just do what they wanted for a long time, and now they have to do it together. That's just kind of weird to me. Like, I think Trey's amazing. I think Murray's amazing, but like together, I need to see it for sure before
I worry about the defense too with those
defense.
Two. But Trey obviously can't play defense, but I think Murray maybe
Murray could. But the Hawks really lack interior defense. And in the East, when all those bigs are there, you got to have somebody. And Clint Capella is not the answer. And I think that's their starting center, is he not? Or him or Okanu. That'd be the 2
I think they run both of them, which is weird. But
do they? That is weird.
Yeah. Who knows?
I guess they did keep John Collins, but he's obviously not much of a defender either. So
he's also nothing on the defensive.
Yeah. They're lacking defense everywhere, but I guess Spinny, what was the deal? DeAndre Hunter got re-signed today. What was it you told us before we started recording here?
4 years, $95 million.
4 years, $95 million. That's probably solid. That's a solid contract for DeAndre Hunter. What he can do on the defensive end, that's probably about what he deserves. The real question, though, with him, obviously, is just his health. He hasn't been able to stay healthy on the floor. And if they don't have DeAndre Hunter on the floor, essentially their only defender, that's not a good look for the Cavs. For the Hawks. Going back a little ways here to the Hornets, what a mess. The amount of drama that team has had this offseason. You got the Miles Bridges situation. That man might not ever see the NBA court ever again. You got PJ Washington out here like baby mamas left and right. Like Bo Knight or whatever, how do you say his name, gets arrested today. Like they just can't catch a break. It's insane.
Yeah, for me, they're kind of in that spot where it's like they should just, and we'll probably talk about it when we get to the West because there's so many more bad teams there. But if you're like looking at 32, 33 wins this year, like just pack it in and enter the Wembanyama sweepstakes. Like that's what they should be, honestly. Like there's no reason they shouldn't be, because like think of him with like LaMelo. Okay, you just like recharge
LaMelo and Victor. That would be something.
Yeah. So, and I just think with all those guys, like you just listed probably their 2 or 3 best players on their team, and they're going to be out probably the whole season. Like, I would just shut it down, and which it makes even more case for a team like the Pistons, like Spinny said, for them to sneak in there, just because I think it's open.
True.
And we love that. We love that for my LaMelo fantasy stakes.
Oh my God.
We love that. We love
except the turnover
his hands 75% of the time. It's wonderful.
Except the turnovers might be bad.
True, the turnovers might be bad, but he's going to make up for it with 9 and 9. This man's going to average like 22, 24, 9 and 9, somewhere in there. Come on.
All right, I think that's enough with the East. Unless you guys have any closing thoughts, we'll jump to the West now. This one, we have some differences. Obviously, as you guys can see, our champs would be the biggest difference. Before we get to there, though, let's just start at the top. We all got the Warriors, the 1 seed. This isn't that surprising to me, actually. What does that look?
You know what that look is. You are ridiculous. You are honestly ridiculous. Like,
why?
Ridiculous. This is my first time seeing your list, and it is ridiculous.
Me too. I was expecting that on the East, but Spinny with the Celtics. I was thinking he was going to go with the homer pick. I wasn't thinking this.
Yeah, you are ridiculous.
Why? You don't
the
have faith
Wolves
in the
are
Wolves?
not winning the West. Are you serious?
Let's start there.
Serious.
I want to start there we'll get into the Warriors, but because before you got on here, Bus, we were talking, like we both have the Wolves. We have Spinny, we have 4 and 5, but we both said I would not be shocked if the Wolves win like 56 games this year, just because they got the one thing they needed, and the one thing that's proven for the past 4 years what wins in the regular season, and that's Rudy freaking Gobert, where he just night on night basis, having a defender like that just wins you so many more games. Like, and that's the one thing they were missing. So if you're projecting like an inevitable Anthony Edwards, another leap, which I think he is, and then Towns just doing what Towns does, and now you add a guy who can just hold down the entire interior defense, they could easily win a ton of games, especially since they're a healthy team too. Like all those guys play all the games. Playoffs, different in the playoffs. That's a different story, but I would not be surprised. I have them at 5. I wouldn't be surprised to see them up at like a 2 or a 3 seed.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I love them as the 3 seed, but winning the West, bro.
Yeah, that's
what I'm talking about. That's what
I'm running with it, because the only other team I have faith in winning the West is the Warriors, and I'm not freaking picking the Warriors. There's no chance I'm picking the Warriors. Everyone knows my hatred for them. I will never pick them. I'm not going to pick them. I refuse to. I'll give them the 1 seed.
Bias picks. A biased non-pick and a bias.
And here,
double bias.
Let me
on the Western Conference Finals here. We heard it here first.
Let me defend my Wolves here. Let me defend it. So obviously, like Trevor said, they will be a great regular season team. They should be able to be. I would be shocked if they go below the 5 seed. They're a lock for a top 5 seed in my eyes. With my situation here being the 3 seed, this is lining up exactly how I want it in the playoffs. I think we will for sure beat the Grizzlies. The biggest issue last year in that series was rebounding. We couldn't even box out freaking Brandon Clark, 6'8" Brandon Clark. And now we have Rudy Gobert down there getting all these boards. So I anticipate a 4-2 win, 4-1 win against the Grizzlies. And then moving on to the second round, when you're looking at the Clippers or the Suns, that's when it gets a little scary, obviously, especially if the Clippers are able to upset the Suns there. But as you saw last year, the Suns have the ability to choke. I don't know if they're able to match up with our starting lineup, given all the options we have. Pick and roll with D'Lo and Rudy. You got Cat just being an offensive monster. You got Anthony Edwards, who I anticipate obviously taking that year 3 jump. That's the biggest part of my prediction, is Anthony Edwards taking that year 3 jump. So I like us over the Suns. The Clippers I'm a little more sketched out about. And then it obviously just comes down to beating the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, which obviously would be extremely hard. But like I said, I'm not going to pick the Warriors. I'll rock with the Wolves. I really, literally think we can run at least to the Western Conference Finals. I seriously think that's a legit shot.
And in defense of your pick, I think where me and Spinny and a lot of people are hesitant on a Gobert defensive team in the playoffs is just what we've seen the last 4 years, which has been
right.
Quinn Snyder getting obliterated on the other coaching end of just getting Gobert just sniped out on the perimeter, getting him useless, and just rendering him almost unplayable in the playoffs. If Finch can find a way around that, it's a big ask just because of like what Gobert is. But if he can find a way to not get out coached by the Ty Lues or the Montes of the world, I could see them putting together a good run. But that's really what it boils down to in the playoffs is, can you play Gobert at least somewhat similarly to you play him in the regular season, or is he going to get exploited like he normally does?
Yeah, that is a great point. And it's going to come down to that for sure. The perimeter defense and Rudy being able to hold down his own. That's definitely what it will come down to. And obviously, if Anthony Edwards doesn't take this year 3 jump and like puts him into for sure top 20, top 15 in the NBA, then the Wolves won't win. Then obviously my take will be ridiculously bad. So I just have a lot of faith in Anthony Edwards. I think he is that guy for us. And maybe I'm a year or two too early on the Wolves. I probably am. But I'm running with it.
Yeah. We just did first team, but do you think Edwards could be like a second teamer? So like Ja last year took the big jump. Right. I think we'd like to see Edwards take, and he got into like second team. Do you think Edwards could do something similar?
Yeah, I think if I want my take to be accurate, then Anthony Edwards needs to be a second or third team All-NBA guy this year. He needs to take that type of jump. Otherwise, we won't have a chance. At least this season.
We got to have Cat or Gobert on that list as well.
Well, I think Cat's getting it again.
You think so?
I think that's a lock. I think
because
last year,
how many points a game from Cat?
Okay, think about it last year though, Spinny. The only competition for third team Cat had was Rudy, and now Rudy's on his team. I'm going to take Cat over Rudy when they're on the same team. So then that means who else would be his competition? Bam Adebayo? Probably.
Yeah, he's got to stay healthy though too.
Exactly. I don't think Bam will play enough games to beat out Cat for that last third team spot.
Anthony Davis.
That's true. That's obviously another guy that would have to play enough games. But if he does,
he might be a forward though. I don't know. But
yeah, I guess I don't know I know the Lakers were thinking about starting him at center this year, which I don't know if I agree with that because I know AD. But AD doesn't want to.
But I don't care.
He doesn't want to.
It's better.
They're a mess. We'll get to them later. They're a mess too. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about the Suns because we still have them all in the top 3. But do you guys still have faith in them to make a deep playoff run?
I think this is a team that they're past it. I thought 2 years ago that was their run that they were able to make. I don't have faith in them to make another deep run, but they're obviously set up to win a ton of regular season games. They have a great core, great 3, re-signing Ayton, still have Chris Paul and D-Book. So that'll be enough to get you a lot of wins in the regular season. But I don't know. I don't trust them in the playoffs anymore. I really don't. Oh, not to mention, before Spinny gives his thoughts, not to mention the year when they did make the run, every single team they played in the Western playoffs was hurt. AD was hurt. LeBron was 70%. Next series, who do they play? I know they played the Nuggets
Denver.
without Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
I think they played the Clippers without Kawhi. Like
Mhm.
they didn't have to play a full team once. So that's another main reason why I don't trust the Suns.
Honestly, my take would be stealing the take from Trevor that we previously talked about. So I'm going to let you take that one because that's your take. But the only thing I will say is on top of those three guys, we got Bridges and Cam Johnson, who are two younger, above average role players, I think, and really round out a team that can win regular season games. They're still pretty deep on guys that can have an impact off the bench as well.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there, but I'm also I'm with you. I think 2 years ago was their shot, and then last year was also their shot. But they're playing with fire, and the fact that they've been like 2 full regular seasons for the most part, right? With Chris Paul being like healthy, which is just I would not be betting that that's going to happen again, or let alone he avoids like another series-ending injury in the playoffs. Like it's just too much reliance on a like 38, 39-year-old Chris Paul. For my liking, I like Booker. We'll see how Ayton is after that whole ordeal. And I like Bridges, and they have a Jay Crowder ordeal to deal with now. And then not to mention Sarver. It's that a lot of off the court stuff.
A lot of mess.
Yeah, and then you're just playing with the catalyst where you're flipping a coin if Chris Paul can play the majority of the season and the full playoffs. Like the West got better and they got worse.
Yeah, I completely agree there. Jumping on to another team that I think we definitely need to talk about here, given how low Spinny and I have them, is the Grizzlies. Spinny, what are your thoughts? I mean, you have them going from the 2 seed to the 7 seed. I have them going to the 6 seed. What are your thoughts there? I'm sure we have similar.
I don't know if Desmond Bane is going to give you the season he gave you last year. We'll see. I'm a little hesitant of that. Second thing, Jaren Jackson's health. Obviously, he'll be out a long time. I think he's their second best player. He really is like the most influential player as far as non-Ja Morant, as far as wins for the Grizzlies. And I don't know. Dylan Brooks scares me from a production standpoint as well. Consistency, yeah. And he has to be athletic to be as consistent as you want because he has to play defense. And at the end of last year, he's a little suspect on that end. So I just worry about their role players maintaining the above average status that pretty much all of them had last year to make them good enough, especially without Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, I completely agree. Those were my same thoughts on the Grizzlies. But I'm probably wrong on their take. Let's be real. They were able to win however many games without
We're all biased against the Grizzlies for sure.
Yeah. I can't stand them either. But I think their core is young enough. They get Jackson back in like December-ish range is I think what they're expected. And they're just young and a fast team. And I think on like a night-to-night basis, like that alone just wins them games. The fact that they just probably have more energy than the other team.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that Ja just plays like a great style of basketball. I think they're still slated to win. I guess with me having them at 4, they were 4 and 5 with Wolves as a toss-up, but I think they're just going to be more consistent than Clippers, Mavs, Pelicans. And I think that's just going to get them a higher seed.
I feel that.
Jumping to the Clippers, because this is another team I want to talk about. I don't know. I wasn't confident putting them as low as 7 the way I was going through it. That's how it ended for me. I don't know about you guys with having them at 6, but I'm not confident having the Clippers this low if Kawhi and Paul George, if their cast is able to stay healthy. They're as talented as anybody.
I don't think they're going to be able to stay healthy. That's why I put them here, at least for the whole season. If George and Kawhi play 60 games, this will be a top 4 seed in the West. But I just don't have faith in that. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen Kawhi play in how long? I forget he even exists. So it's like, I got to see him on the court before I'm going to move him up. I'm probably going to be wrong about that. Got to see it. I haven't seen it in 2 years. So I got to see it.
Yep. I'm with you. And I think they're going to be like, you remember last year how from like March on. Everyone with the Nets was like, yeah, I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs, but if they do, I won't be surprised if they win the finals. And I think that's going to be the Clippers this year, where everyone's like, I don't know, who knows? But if they get into the playoffs fully healthy, like you said, Bus, like their roster, the whole like, let alone,
talented.
yeah, it's so much talent. Like it's the same team that minus Kawhi actually almost made the finals 2 years ago. They took the Suns to 6 games. So and Ty Lue's a great coach. I think there's a ton of potential there, but it's 100%. I got to see it. And they got to be on the court, which is a sneak peek to my trivia question, by the way.
Okay. I'll have to keep that in my head.
And before we get to that, though, there's, I think, one team we got to talk about still. One team left we got to talk about.
And which is that?
That's the Lakers. We got to talk about them. We got to talk about Buss. You know we do.
I wanted to leave them off the play-in, but I couldn't think of another team that I was like, yeah, they'll actually win enough games. But it's bad.
Here's the thing, though. Again, I think this is where I could be the most wrong, some of the most wrong, both LA teams, because if they can finesse a Russ trade midseason for Hield and Turner, and then you can play Pat Bev and Schroeder and Hield and LeBron and AD and Turner, plus the random other depth that they have right now, it's like that team could win, but I need that. And I need LeBron and AD both healthy for 60 games, which, again, especially in AD's case in recent years, seems like it's impossible.
And even when he was healthy last year, it was bad. Like he couldn't shoot the ball. It made no sense. So I'm with you. If like we see like bubble AD, like literally same thing I just said, where it's like I would not be surprised if this team, given that trade, like if they have to make that trade. But given that trade, AD's playing good, I could totally see them in the Western Conference Finals, which would be ridiculous. But as of now, that seems so far away.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with both you guys. If they don't get that Buddy Hield trade done or something along those lines, they're not going to be good enough. There's no chance a team with essentially 3 Westbrooks out there and Pat Bev, Schroeder, and Westbrook, there's just no way that's going to work. I don't see it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Like none of your point guards can shoot. None of them. Like that's what we're going with.
Yeah.
With LeBron James and a bunch of guards who can't shoot. Sick
a guy for 19 years now.
Super intelligent roster construction there, Robbie.
Seriously. And a guy for 19 years now, needs shooters around him. LeBron.
Yeah. I was just going to say, we've known the formula for literally 20 years in a row now.
Yeah.
And for some reason, most of his career, he has not had said formula. And it's like,
it's not that hard. Get him some shooters and get him a big. You can call it a trip to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. The best shooter they signed this offseason was Lonnie Walker, who has like a career 36% rate. That's it. That was the best shooter they signed. To play? I'm sure he's going to be a backup too for them, but it's like that's the best shooter they signed this offseason. I don't know what the hell Rob Pelinka is doing.
Dude, I only got the extension, but and that's it. They bring in Russ off the bench. I've seen like rumblings. I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah,
but it's a mess.
I mean, I think that's a wonderful plan if you can get Russ to buy into it. If I get 15 to 18 minutes of Russ with the bench running it however he wants and using that time to get his buckets, and then you have them, you're not going to do it any better than that with the bench that you got. That's a perfect formula. Right. You take him off when the starters get back on, then you can run your offense. You give him the Russ show for 15 minutes a game, and he's going to be productive in that time. Like Russ puts stats up. I mean, we know this. So I think if that can be bought into, it could potentially work. But again, you still have to have shooters around Russ at those moments. And do they have any shooters at all?
No.
This could be working if you put shooters in the mix, but they don't have any shooters.
Yeah, Buddy Hield would be huge for them. He's obviously, I don't know if you guys know this, but the last 5 years, he leads the NBA in total three-pointers made. He's even ahead Curry, which obviously makes sense given Curry's injuries that he had a couple years ago. But Buddy, I think, would explode on the Lakers. That's the perfect fit for him. And yeah, if they're not able to get Buddy Hield or another type of shooter like that, Lakers are in for a long season, I think.
Yeah.
Before we move to trivia, though, Go ahead, Trevor.
No, I was gonna say it's just tough when you look at how much better the West is from like 3 down. Like we didn't touch on the Mavs or the Pelicans, but both of those
Right.
rosters are so good, top to bottom. And if you're the Lakers and if you're looking at a play-in, like that's just the journey is so tough. You'd have to beat like 4 really good teams in a series.
Yeah, the Mavs, Pelicans. I like both of those teams' outlooks. Obviously, Zion needs to stay healthy for the Pelicans. That'll be the biggest thing. But Zion, McCollum, Brandon Ingram, you still got Valanciunas down low. They got a lot of guys, actually, a lot of quality players. But before we jump to trivia, I need Spinny to defend his Nuggets Western Conference champions take. I need some defense there.
My defense is Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray, if we can get anywhere close to bubble Jamal Murray with the level that Jokic is at now, that's something crazy. They've got decent shooters. They can play kind of defense. And then if we can see Michael Porter potentially get any amount of playing time late in the season, if you can get those 3 healthy going into the playoffs with a 24-game Jamal Murray, then we're talking something serious. And I again, I'm not going to pick the Warriors. I felt like it was too obvious, and I didn't want to do it. Plus, I think the Draymond team chemistry thing could be real. I think Denver's got the best shot.
I agree. I think they're going to win a ton of games too. Like that court. Jokic won with like us 3 playing with him last year, and they still won like 45 games. So yeah, Murray back, MPJ a little bit. They got KCP, so branching off of what the Lakers absolutely don't have but need, the Nuggets actually have it, and someone that Jokic can just chuck the ball to and shoot threes. I think they should be. They should win a ton of games, and if they're a 1 or 2 seed, that sets them up nice to at least win the conference.
Yeah, I agree. I do obviously think the Warriors are the favorite heading in. They're just too deep, too talented everywhere, too much experience. I would be shocked if it would probably have to come down to injuries or something, because I would be shocked if someone beat them. I still think they're the favorite to get to the finals out of the West. Well, that was it for our playoff predictions. We're going to jump to trivia now. You can see the updated standings on your screen. Spinny's still ahead of me. Man, it's been quite some time since Spinny's been ahead of me. I don't know if it's not looking good for me. I need to catch up. Well, Spinny, just get things wrong.
You'll have a chance this week to catch up, because I gave you some gettable questions. So
okay, you did. Okay,
I'll go first. Speaking of that, and secondly, little mid-episode trivia update. The Broncos are up 10-7. Austin Eckler just scored a rushing touchdown on Monday Night Football. So
who do we got for the Broncos score?
Broncos score. It was a random backup tight end.
Right.
Pass from Rush.
Quick moment of silence for Austin Eckler fantasy owners that dropped him after week 4 because he didn't do anything, and in these last 3 weeks he's just been an explosion. So
tough looks.
True.
Couldn't be me, but I know people that were definitely doing that.
Should have listened to Hard Headed Sports. We told you to keep Austin Eckler. All right. Easy question. Who is the only current top 5? Okay. Of the top 5 players in the league in passing yards currently in the NFL, of the top 5 currently in passing yards, who is the only one not to play in a Super Bowl?
Total. Did you say yards per game or total?
Yeah, total yards. Top 5 in the league, total yards. Who is the only one of them to not play in a Super Bowl?
I have a guess.
I have mine too.
Is he still top 5?
That's literally what I'm thinking. I think we have the same guess.
I'm throwing out Carson Wentz.
Ooh.
Is my guess.
I'm saying Jalen Hurts.
Wrong. Both of you wrong. This is an easy question. The answer is Josh Allen.
Oh, duh.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Duh.
Wow.
Yeah, duh. I literally said in my head, I was like, who's 5? And it was like Allen, Mahomes, blah, blah, blah. Then, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I even thought Allen. I was like, Allen, Mahomes, maybe it's Carson Wentz. That is an L on us. Wow.
Warm up.
All right, warm up. My easy question. Who led the NBA last year in rebounds per game?
I have mine.
I got it.
I think Clint Capella.
I'm going to go with Rob Will.
Both incorrect. The leader
Is it Rudy?
rebounds per game was Rudy Gobert with
Yeah.
14.
Why did I just say Rudy again? We just overthought that. I just overthought that.
Yeah.
Question too. I was literally going to say Rudy the whole time. Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid.
That's why I picked rebounds per game as the easy question because he's on our team now.
Fair enough.
Damn.
Fair enough. All right. My easy question in line, because I think I'm pretty sure we all had the Kings in the play-in game, which means I don't know if they count that as like you making the playoffs or if you have to win the play-in to make the playoffs. But either way, when was the last time, now that the Mariners also made the playoffs this year, they hold the longest drought the Sacramento Kings do of not making the playoffs. What year was the last year the Sacramento Kings made the NBA playoffs?
I think it's the same year that. Do you have a guess, Bus? I'm gonna do a little.
I have a semi good guess. I feel like I'm curious if it's actually been that long. I'm gonna go 2004.
It's 2004. Chris Webber. The Wolves played him in the playoffs.
Yeah, was that the last time they were in?
Correct, but they also made it the next year. So they made 05, 06. But the Weber, yes, that run, they made it 2001, 2, 3, and 4. But they made it 5 and 6, but they lost in the first round to the Spurs. But it's been that long,
man.
18 years. They're now the longest in the major U.S. sports for the longest drought. Now, the Mariners made it, and the Wolves made it a few years ago, too.
That's tough for them. Wow. We're really heading into the medium round with 0 points on the board.
Big oofs here. Me first.
Yes.
Medium question. Who is second in the league in tackles in the NFL?
What's up with your obsession with tackles? Who's throwing this question out?
Such an obscure stat.
I don't freaking know.
What did you say, first or second?
Second.
Okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna say Aaron Donald because he's got to be up there.
I'm gonna say Roquan Smith with the hope that he got passed because I knew he was first.
Okay, so Bus did do his history and understand the reason that this was a medium question.
Was I right?
There's Roquan Smith, yeah.
Wow. Yes.
Roquan Smith. I asked this question as an easy question a few weeks ago, and I was made fun of for it being too hard to be an easy question, so I moved it to a medium question. So
who passed him?
Good pickup. It was really somebody random. I think
that's why you kept it as second.
I think it was Colts.
Leonard?
No.
Leonard missed some games.
Zaire Franklin.
Wouldn't have got that.
So
never even heard of that dude, honestly.
And him and Roquan are tied at 66. So I guess really he's tied for first, but
nice, Spinny. Said the question.
So it really wasn't a right question, but you know what? Close enough.
All right. My medium question. I'm kind of worried that you guys have no shot at getting this, but who led the NBA last year in 3-point field goal percentage? 3-point percentage.
I actually know this one because it's super random. I gotta think of his name.
Oh, I know it too, I think.
Say the team and I'll let you know if you're right.
Wizards?
I don't think so.
Oh.
3-point percentage. Trying to think of a hint I could give you.
Yeah.
I'll just give you at least conference. Western Conference.
Okay, I think I know him. I just literally can't think of his name. I gotta look at a roster.
Do we trust him to not be looking up the question?
Yes. Okay. No, I know. I know who it is now because I had the team. So it was Western Conference. It was Portland Trailblazers. Isn't it Anthony Simons?
What's your guess, Spinny?
I think that's right, but I feel bad stealing it because you kind of said it before me. So, like, am I allowed to do that? Because I think that's the right answer. But
If he was in your top three, guesses, I'll give that to you.
All right, Anthony Simons.
Incorrect.
No.
The leader in 3-point percentage last year. He plays for an LA team. He was a Duke Blue Devil in college.
Oh, it's Kennard? Oh.
Luke Kennard shot 44.9% last year from 3 to lead the NBA.
I knew it was an obscure guy, but I thought Simons went on like a weird stretch where he was just like
That's what I remember too. I remember thinking Anthony Simons is shooting 43% from the line. Like, what?
He was up there.
He's not even a shooter.
That's fair. Good stuff for Kennard. I love to see that.
Good. All right, Trevor, your question.
All right. So my medium question, we haven't got to our picks yet, but I'll be seeing this is in the category of MVP. Jokic has won it 2 years in a row. He could win it for a third time. How many players in NBA history have three-peated the NBA award? You don't have to name them, just get the number, but it'll probably help you to name them.
I'm not going to help Buss, but I think it's only 3. I really do. I'm going to say 3 as my final answer.
I'm going to say 2.
It's Wilt and Russell and Larry Bird.
There it is. That is correct. The
I
only
knew
three who
Bird
ever
was
done it.
blonde.
The tough one is Jordan probably should have, but the 1 year that he kind of started the NBA voter fatigue because him and LeBron probably should both have a three-peat. But people just don't like giving it to him 3 years in a row. So we'll see if Jokic, if he keeps doing what he's doing, if they want to give it to him or not. But history has shown they do not really like doing that.
I mean, if he puts up a stat line similar to last year and they do improve record-wise, given Murray's back, they might have to give it to him.
If they're a top 2 seed in the West and he does what he's been doing, like,
you might have to.
Not.
Well, moving into our hard round, 2-2-0. We got a tie so far. Spinny, why don't you start us off?
Start us off. Who leads the NFL in sacks currently?
Oh, I'm going to be so mad when you tell me this because I'll probably guess wrong, but I literally just saw this.
I did too. I literally just saw it too because I think I remember the number because it was actually insane. They got a ton of them in like 2 games.
Oh, no. I have a guess. It's not right. I have a guess.
I know it's more random than this, but I can't. I'm literally not going to be able to think of the name, so I'm just going to throw out Micah Parsons, as my guess, but it is not Micah Parsons.
What is the Nick Bosa? I confused the two for a second. Nick Bosa is my guess.
This guy leads by 1/2 of a sack over Von Miller, who is second, and his name is Alex Highsmith. He plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I didn't know.
It's because they got like 10 sacks week 1.
Yeah, 6.5 sacks for Alex Highsmith.
Oh.
Okay, my hard question. Okay, I'm going to give you guys hints, so don't worry when you hear the question.
Oh, Lordy. I know.
Another leader. I was looking at all the leaders of all the stats on Basketball Reference, and when I saw this one, I had to choose it because I was like, no way in hell this player led in this category. Who led the NBA last year in offensive rating? One hint would be it's usually a big. Bigs obviously have better ratings, typically since their field goal percentage is higher. So it is a center. It's a big. And the other hint I'll give you is the Western Conference. Western Conference big.
I don't know if you would dare have the same player for 2 trivia answers, would you?
I don't.
Do that to us? Okay.
I'll admit it's not Rudy Gobert.
That's what came to mind.
Because I don't think their offense is good enough last year that he could do it.
The third hint is it's a random player. It wouldn't be Rudy.
I think I know, actually.
Hope I didn't give you guys too many
I
answers.
think I'm gonna win on this. I don't know. Just
my guess isn't a random player, and so I don't think me and Spinny have the same person. But my logic was Phoenix had one of the best offenses by default. Ayton was on the court for most of those, so my guess is Ayton. But I don't have faith in that.
I'm gonna go Kevon Looney final.
Both incorrect.
What?
Both are incorrect. I can't even think of another hint to give you. I know Rudy was second in offensive rating. Rudy was second. This man, he's teammates with Luka. He's on the Mavs.
Oh, Kleber?
Nope, Dwight Powell.
Dwight Powell
Led the NBA in offensive rating last year. He must have shot a ridiculous percentage or something.
Just oops.
Dwight Powell. Is the answer.
That's tough.
Oh man, this is not good. That means we might have a tie.
All right. Well, let's see. This could be a chance. You guys are gonna have to do some math for this one, though, probably. All right. So we were talking about the Clippers. We don't know how good they're going to be based on how healthy Kawhi and Paul George can be at the same time. So their first season together was 2019. This is year 4, which is insane that it's gone by that fast. In those 4 seasons, how many games, not counting playoffs, have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George played together? And I will give you like a plus or minus 10 here.
Ooh. So 4 seasons.
4 seasons, regular seasons. Regular season games.
So Kawhi's missed 2 completely. So we're talking a bank of 164. How many of those? Paul George had a big injury.
Into 4 seasons.
So we get plus or minus
10
side.
Yeah, I'll give you a rate. Yeah, 10. So you don't have to nail it exactly. Yeah.
All right, then I'm gonna go from 35 to 45. That'll be my range. I'm gonna say 40, 35, 45.
I'm going to go, I think it's a little higher than that. I'm going to go.
Let me make a quick correction with postseason. I was initially thinking mine was just regular season. I confirmed it with postseason.
Okay. So Spinny, you can change it. Yes.
Then we're going 50 to 60. Between 50 and 60 games. 55.
We might have a little overlap here, I guess, because I was going to go from 60 to 65. 60 would be my guess, so 55, I guess, to 65.
Okay.
And this is why I thought it was kind of hard, because it's surprisingly more than you would think. It's actually 104.
Oh.
So
104?
They've played together, which is not a lot by any means, but it's more than we think for that duo, which is kind of disappointing then when you think of their success.
Yeah, that's still 104 out of 320 regular season games.
Yeah, no, it's still.
Games. So we're still talking like 104 out of 350, 360.
Yeah, it's still bad. It's not quite Harden, KD, Kyrie levels, but it's still not a lot of. Let's just say there's a lot being put on the plate of like Reggie Jackson and Terrence Mann. So,
all right, Buss. Now let's just give it to Trevor. Trevor can come up with a tiebreaker question for us, right? That could be unbiased enough.
That's true. Do you want to stick NBA or NFL?
I think we should go NBA for the NBA show.
Are we still gonna just yell out buzzer? Or buzz or whatever we want to do.
Yeah, we just say buzz. We say buzz. Whoever says first gets it. If they guess wrong, the other person gets a chance to steal it.
And if we both get it wrong, then we just tie, right?
Yeah.
Is that how we're doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. We'll go semi-easy, but I got to confirm the answer.
Man, 100 games, huh?
104. So not bad. Okay, yeah, I did know it. Semi-easy. Kind of sticking with the theme. What player won the 2022 3-point contest?
Buzz.
What
Cat.
do we got? Yes.
No.
I thought I was serving that up to you, Bus, with all the Wolves and Towns love. I thought I was
know.
serving that up.
Right when
I
you
did think
said-
that too.
It came to my mind, but Spinny had already said Buzz. It's yeah.
Tough.
Another L for me. That's tough. Spinny gets the win. 1-point win. God.
I'm
What?
surprised I
Sweat
got
out.
that one.
You were surprised?
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't beat me to it. You're more, I don't know. Just a little surprised. I think you kind of choked that one personally.
No, I did choke. That is a choke. I agree. I thought you meant you were just surprised that you got it right with Cat. Like you just
No.
didn't even. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. I was like, what? All right, moving on. Our next little topic here. We're gonna predict the awards. Let's start with MVP. Trevor, we both have Giannis. Given we had the Bucks both. I'm pretty sure you had the Bucks as 1 seed, right? We all did. This just makes sense. They'll be one of the best teams in the NBA this year, so the record will back it up. And Giannis plays a shit ton of games. He always does. He seems to never, he's a lock for 70-plus games. And with the stat line he puts up, he's pretty much guaranteed 28, 12, and 5 with a steal and a block. Those are MVP numbers. And with the record to back it up, I have to go with Giannis.
Right there with you. I think that goes hands in hand too with the trivia question I had. I don't think even if Jokic does something crazy, I don't see them giving it to him a third time if Giannis is kind of on the same level. I'm with you. I think they're going to win a ton of games. He's going to play a ton of games. His stats are going to be insane as usual. I guess we'll just see if they want to give it to him for the third time in 4 years. I don't think outside of those two, you're looking at Embiid or Steph, and I just don't know. I'd place way more faith in one of those two, and I'm leaning Giannis.
So I went Tatum because I went with my records, and a guy below a 4 seed has never won MVP before. So, or once. Once.
I was gonna say
Only
Nuggets
one
were 5
time.
seed, right?
What?
Weren't the Nuggets below 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jokic was the first for sure since 2000 to win an MVP as a below a 4 seed, and we saw the insane stats and metrics that he had. So I went Tatum because they were the 2 seed and because I predicted that. And with the new coaching situation, I think if he takes another step up, he's going to be the one that gets the credit. But the team that I wanted, the guy that I wanted to put, I had at a 5 seed, and that's Luka. And I think if the Mavs can sneak out of top 3, I think this could be Luka's big jump year. And I think we could see 30 a game from him. So if we get 30, 10, and 9 type of situation, and the Mavs are a top 3 seed, it definitely could be a year for Luka. I think I went with Tatum because I stick in with my records and my theme, but I think Luka is a guy who could be an outside candidate as well.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone's thinking. I think it's pretty much guaranteed Luka's going to want to win one at some point. He just needs the team to get enough wins for him to do it in the first place, because his numbers are always insane, and he's got the usage rate and everything to back it up, but he's just teams can't crack in the top 4 of those West teams. And I don't think that's the case this year either.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It'll be tough. The West is just ridiculously loaded, as always. Moving on, DPOY. I got Rudy Gobert. If, with all the faith I have in the Wolves this year, making a deep run, something like this has to happen. Rudy has to be in conversation for this award. And, he has 3 already. I don't think after – has it only been 1 year in between? Did he win 2 years ago?
Yeah. 2 years ago,
Yeah,
Smart last year, right?
Yep. So the voter fatigue kind of kicked in a little bit for him last year. But if he's able to, to get his 2+ blocks per game and all the rebounding that he does as well, he will definitely be in conversation once again. And it's, this is obviously historically a big man's award. So I don't know if they'll give it to 2 perimeter defenders 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Plus, I think he gets the added benefit of if the Wolves defense jumps from so bad to really good, and you're really looking at the only difference was him. Like it's
Yeah.
going to be way more stock in his reason to win.
Yes, especially when we kind of lost a couple defenders in that trade, and then we still get significantly better. I think that that could definitely be a case for him. I want Giannis. I think if Giannis doesn't win MVP, DPOY is like a given for him, given blocks, steals, presence in the paint, all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
Guys both like Giannis and Gobert, so I think you can always make that argument there for those two.
For sure. Rookie of the year. This one, I never have faith in picking rookie of the year. This is a toss-up. It's obviously going to depend on minutes for all these guys. You would anticipate all three of the guys we have picked will play a ton of minutes, right? I don't see why not, especially like a guy like Keegan Murray. If taking him over like Ivy, that was like a win now move. So he's going to have to start and play a ton of minutes. Mathurin and Paolo both on bad teams, so they should play a ton of minutes as well. I like Mathurin's game. I think, like I just said, the potential for a ton of minutes will be there, especially if they do, in fact, trade Buddy Hield. Then he will slide into a starting role. He's been tearing it up in the preseason. Super athletic, good shooter, driver, can play defense. I think Benedict is a sleeper pick here for Rookie of the Year.
I like that pick.
I like it too. I think he's got the benefit over both of our guys we picked. We all had the Kings making a push to make the playoffs. So in terms of like his usage, how many shots he's going to get up, because that's really what Rookie of the Year kind of boils down to, is how much stats he can put up. I don't know if Murray's going to have as much of a chance. And then same with Paolo. You'd expect him to be a big part of the Magic making a push, but when you're making a push for the playoffs, you play more team ball, looking for more wins, whereas the Wizards they should be in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, so they should just be trying to lose as many games as possible, which means a ton of shots and a ton of minutes for Mathurin.
Pacers, you mean?
Oh, is he Pacers? I was thinking, who'd the Wizards draft one in their first round?
Johnny Davis.
Got it. Okay, I mixed them up. Either way, Pacers even more so.
Same thing. Yeah.
Even more so.
Literally.
How about you guys with your Keegan Murray, Paolo takes?
I guess we'll see. I think they're both really polished. I think those are the two most polished players coming out of the draft. So I think they're going to be, from game one, I think they're going to be one of the better looking rookies. Yeah, and I just think they're both set up in a really, like, in the offenses that'll get them shots, get them looks. Yeah, that it's basically, I just think they're the most NBA ready guys. Your point with the win now, that's why the Kings drafted him over a guy like Ivy. So I think he'll get a chance to show it. And we kind of saw with how well like Herb Jones and why am I blanking on the Raptors? Scotty Barnes on a winning team, you get a little more recognition in the Rookie of the Year. Both those guys finished in the top 5 last year, so I think that'll help.
Yeah, those are great points.
I like those points. I think I want Paolo. I think he's going to get a ton of usage. I think he'll have the ball in his hands a ton, and I think this is a statistical award a lot of times, even though it necessarily shouldn't be LaMelo over Ant. But I think that given how this award has been given in the past, that Paolo, given his usage rate and if he can stay healthy, he's going to put up the stats. And I think that could be push him over the edge.
Yeah, I do. I definitely think Paolo is going to be a dog in this league. That's for sure. Sixth man, I anticipate this being a 3-person race. 2 of them being the guys we have on here, Jordan Poole, Malcolm Brogdon. The other guy would be last year's champ, Tyler Hero. He's going to get enough shot attempts, and he should probably put up a similar stat line, 25-5 or 4-4, whatever he had last year. I really do think it's a 3-man race. I'm going to go Poole, the best team out of all those guys, and he should obviously get increased minutes this year with how well he played last year. So I'm going to go with Jordan Poole.
100% agree, and I think Poole's going to kind of cheese this award, which is why I have him for 6th or MPI. I think he's going to win one of those. It's kind of just up to which one they give him. I think he's going to be like, his minutes are going to be like 2012 Thunder Harden-ish. where he's the starter, but he's coming off the bench for some reason. Because he proved last year he can pretty much handle the Steph role, which is exactly what the Warriors are going to want to do as Clay and Steph get older. They're going to want to reduce their minutes, and they got a guy they can plug in right there, and they gave him the extension. They obviously believe in him. I think he's going to get a ton of minutes, ton of shots, and he's got the skill to back it up. So I think he's either going to win sixth man or most improved player. I'm kind of leaning more towards, I should put him first on most improved player. And then I'm with you. I think it's between Brogdon or Hero, and I like Brogdon in Boston. Just a way better system for him to get more looks and kind of show what he does.
So the plan is still then to start Smart at point guard?
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Which I
think
like,
so too.
Which I like because, and as we saw last year with Ime, I think it'll be the same thing with the new coach this year. But I think that having Brogdon's scoring ability on the second units is the look for most of the game. And then at the end, if you need that shooting instead of Smart or to pair anyway, you can move Tatum to the 4 and then go Brogdon, Smart, Brown, Tatum, Williams. I think that's probably your best lineup. But there's a chance Grant Williams starts at the 4. You take Brogdon or Smart out. There's a lot they could do, and that obviously depends. But I think Brogdon will definitely fit in and give them some scoring they need, whether it's off the bench or not. But I think there's a good chance it's off the bench.
Yeah, I think he's just got to stay healthy too. Kind of the issues that's plagued him his whole career.
Of course.
Moving on to most improved. I noticed you guys are both going a similar route that it went last year based on stars just being better and taking that jump. I went a little more of the throwback approach. I think Tyrese Halliburton, what you saw him do when he got traded to the Pacers was ridiculous. This man was getting double-digit assists basically every single game. I think he's flirting with a double-digit assist average, and he's going to be flirting with 20 points per game. This is a guy, if he's flirting with 20 and 10, I don't know how you can't give it to him for most improved. That is quite the jump to go from 15 points to 20 and then 8 assists per game to 10. Those will be great numbers and a great third-year leap for Tyrese.
Yeah, like you said, I went more like Jaw last year. I think he could jump to high 20s per game and really make that big, I'm an actual superstar contender jump. And I think if that happens, then we could go along the same route as last year.
Yep. And that's my same reason with Zion. Granted, his is a little harder just because I was looking at his stats for when he played. He didn't play all of last year, but when he played 2020, I didn't forgot how ridiculous he was. He was at 27 a game at 62% shooting, which is insane. So ridiculous. The logic here would be that the Pelicans are a really good team. He finally actually has a team around him, and then he's leading that, putting up similar numbers, if not better numbers. And they're little questionable of a decision because it's not quite like the NFL where it's, hey, were you hurt last year and now you play? Okay, cool, most improved player. But I think that'll play into a little bit where he missed the entire season last year and he was dealing with injury before. And if he can put together a full season, big if, and he performs like he does and the Pelicans perform like we think they will, I think he'll have a good chance.
Yeah, that's good reasoning for that. Moving on to coach, our last actual award here. I'm obviously going to rock with Finch. If the Wolves are indeed able to make this jump to a top 4 seed, I had them at the 3 seed. That seems to be what the NBA does for Coach of the Award, able to take their team from last year, okay team, and then make the jump to an elite team. If we're able to do that and actually get in the top 4 seed, and especially if we're flirting with 60 wins, that'll definitely back up Finch's case as well. So a little homer take here, but it makes sense given the expected jump in wins for the Wolves.
And that's my same logic with Malone on the Nuggets. I just think weren't quite as good last year. I think they're going to win a ton of games this year. That big jump there. And I went to your Spinny's case here. I think the NBA doesn't like giving Steve Kerr this award just because he's got such a good team. I think they could win 65 games again, and they'll just be like, nah.
Yeah.
See, I think it's a time where Steve Kerr's had the opposite of voter fatigue, where he hasn't gotten it so much, and they've been so good that if they are good, it's going to be like, okay, Steve Kerr deserves one of these damn things.
Yeah,
I think we got to give it to him. He deserves it once.
And I think the Kates, the freeze, it was a freezing cold take back then. I think it still is like an even worse take now, is that Steve Kerr is a bad coach, given what we've seen him do in the playoffs, like last year's finals. He's a great coach. He just happens to have like the best core, maybe of all time.
Right. Does he seriously not have a coach of the year? Not a single one?
One or two.
I think he has one.
He for sure got it in 16, right, when they won all those games.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when they freaking broke the record, if they wouldn't give them to him then, I was like...
Yeah. And even then there was like, because remember Luke Walton coached like half those games and got him somehow two head coaching jobs off that. They wanted to give it because Luke Walton coached like 40 or 50 of those games. So they didn't even want to give Kerr's love then. But I think, I could see that actually. You've convinced me.
Yeah, if they win 65 games, I guess I don't see why not. Our last little prediction here would be the first team. Looking across our teams here, we're identical, except I went KD over Tatum, and I went Embiid over Jokic. My little explanation for those would be, I think last year KD was playing better and putting up better numbers than Jason Tatum. Maybe I could get fact-checked there, but I believe KD had more points per game, similar rebounds, similar assists. So, but the issue was the health. He didn't play enough games, and that's why Tatum was able to get it over him. I'm anticipating a healthier season for KD, more games played. If he plays over 60 games, he's good for 29, 7, and 6 or whatever. So that's why I had to go with KD over Tatum. And Embiid, as we saw last year, they're only going to pick one. It kind of sucks, especially last year when it was clear Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic were the best three players. I thought all of them were deserving a first team. But as we know, they're only going to give it to one center, which sucks. I think Embiid's going to have a little better of a season this year. Maybe voter fatigue kicks in a little bit, but I could be totally wrong with that, given Jokic is going to have more guys around him. Murray healthy. Porter should be healthy. So I could be completely wrong on that take, but it'll go either way.
Yeah, I could see that. I just think Tatum's going to take another leap. So I think Tatum's going to be in that 28-29 per game this year. It's going to be a different beast. So, but I like that. And I could see the Embiid, if they have similar seasons, them just giving it to him once, given what's happened. Yeah. But that makes sense.
Yeah. I went chalk of last year. I guess Spinny did too. We went chalk of last year. And I think it's going to be that same exact debate they had last year, which was literally the 4 and then Tatum or KD. Which one do you put? I guess there is some Embiid Jokic discourse, although when you look at the numbers, it was kind of Jokic hands down. But I think Tatum, KD will be the big debate. I had KD when I initially wrote it, and I kind of backtracked. I just think Tatum's going to do a lot more for the Celtics. They're going to have a better record. And then I think Jokic, because they don't want to give him MVP again, I think they're going to give him first team over Embiid, which does suck for Embiid. I wish they should just do both of them. I don't know. It's positionless basketball nowadays. Basically, I think they should keep all NBA positionless too. I get why they don't want to, because they don't want like 4 or 5 guards in there. But I think all the voters would be like conscious enough to at least have people in like their categories.
And you can also do 2 front court, 2 back court, and then one that's either way.
Totally.
That's how I think they should do it, instead of strictly guard, forward, center. Yeah.
Totally. I'm 100% with you guys, because it sucks because we're in like that pickle with even in the 4, like the forward position, like Tatum, like those guys are getting screwed out of it. Jokic and Embiid, one of those are going to get screwed out of it. And then that doesn't even count like Towns or Gobert. If they get up there, you look at like a Mobley a few years down the road, like those guys are going to get screwed because there's only one center position. It's kind of just stupid.
And it affects the money they're making.
100%.
It really does.
That's part of it. So
I guess I am a little concerned now that I think about it, about me saying Cat's essentially a lock for third team. If he's going to start the majority of his games at the 4, are they even going to classify him as a center for these awards?
Yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Do they do it by what position you start, or by what position you play the most minutes at? Because I think I think Cat's going to get a good amount of minutes still at center when they bring Gobert out.
There's
But
Yeah.
there's been talk of an Ant and Cat, D'Lo and Gobert kind of minutes flopping throughout the game. So
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
true.
even. Can we, since we're done with that, and we forgot to mention the Wolves, are they going to trade D'Lo? Because I think they should trade D'Lo if it's like almost like $1 for 50 cents trade. Just get two better like 3-and-D guys. I know every team wants a 3-and-D guy, so they're like hard to come by. But if you could get that for D'Lo, I think then you would really round it out. And then I'm actually like with you, Bus, of like they could be like a 2 seed in the West. Just like almost trade some of your star power for some depth, even if you have to pay a little bit to do so.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. My biggest concern with that would be the playmaking aspect. I think D'Lo, especially in the pick and roll, he is very efficient. His efficiency numbers are up there towards the top in the NBA. So I'm a little worried if we'll lose playmaking if we trade him. That would be my biggest worry. But yeah, I think I agree with your thoughts. If we just get more depth, that would make more sense given we already have the stars of Cat and Ant and Rudy. Like D'Lo's obviously our 4 on that starting lineup. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I cannot make my mind up with D'Lo. I want them to trade him. I want them to extend him. Like I just can't. I can't make my mind up.
Yeah, and then it's tough when he goes and has games like that playing game where he just like goes like that's everything you want from him. Unfortunately, that's got to the point where that's like once every 8 big games, And I just worry about you have a guy, if he's not doing it on that end, he's a liability on the other end. I know he got better, but he's still kind of a liability. And it's just looking at 2 of your 5 guys in the playoffs can be exploited to be almost unplayable. That's not great. I'd rather trade him for someone I can at least put out there that's serviceable.
if we can get D'Lo in the 20 mil a year range. Sorry, am I cutting out on y'all right now?
You did a little bit, but we got you.
Okay. If you can get D'Lo in the 20 mil a year range, I think then you have to keep him, given the playmaking ability and given just the pure shooting ability. When you put Ant and Gobert in that little playmaking deal, you have McDaniels in the pick and roll, you have McDaniels in the dunker spot, and then your 2 shooters are Cat and D'Lo. So I think that perspective also provides some good offensive ability. So if you can get D'Lo on that 20 mil a year thing, I think it's a very good play. But also, I do like the depth trades as long as, like Bus said, one of those 2 guys you get has some playmaking ability.
Yes, for sure. Well, I think that was it, y'all, for our NBA special here. Trevor, we appreciate you coming on once again. We'll definitely have to give you on soon for some NFL talk. Hopefully your Chargers can improve here and actually get some health. Stay healthy.
They're down 13-10 right now at halftime. They should be down 17-10, but Russ threw KJ Hamler right into the safety, wide open by himself. He was like 20 yards away from anybody, and he just had to throw him to the sideline. It was a touchdown. He threw him back into the safety and underthrew him. Broncos only got a field goal out of it, 13-10.
We love it. No, I appreciate, boys. We'll definitely have to do maybe something before the playoffs or something. But the Chargers, it's just, this is the roller coaster that I signed up for too many years ago. And we just keep riding it.
It's almost worse than the Vikings. It's like almost
no, it's borderline like we're like the Vikings, because I'm still like 50-50, like Chargers first, Vikings second. But the Vikings are like weirdly more consistent, which sounds like, wait, what? But no, they are like somehow more consistent of like they win the games they should win, and they don't like fumble the games that they already have won. The Chargers, it's just like, always. A 21-point lead. I'm just expecting it's going to be tied with 2 minutes left. And thankfully now the difference is, before I had Phil Rivers, and I had zero confidence that he was going to win those games. Herbert now is looking like money that he's going to win those games, but I still just am like, why are we always in this position?
Facts.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Trevor. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely, boys. Love it.
Well, Spinny, we'll wrap up with a quick Q&A. I just going to make this up on the spot. We're going to run with some over-under win totals for our NBA teams. I'm just going to shout them out, and let's hear your answer. We'll start Looking at this list, honestly, it's kind of surprising because it goes in order.
Do you have the Vegas over-unders up right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It is surprising to me to see that the Clippers are projected the fourth highest over under. That's actually, it's tied for second. That's kind of surprising to me. So let's start with Clippers. 52.5 wins is what it's set at.
Under based on health. If those two are healthy, it's over.
Yep, I'm going to go under. I don't know if they'll play enough games to get over 52, and the West is obviously insanely loaded. I mean, essentially 2 through 8 will have pretty damn similar records as we saw last year. Another team, let's go your Celtics, 53.5 actually projected the highest in the NBA.
On that as well, honestly. Last year, they obviously had a slow start, but I don't have it on me right now. But how many wins did they end up with last year? Not many more than that. Win total last year. What do we got?
51 and 31.
Yeah, so 53.5 under. Smash that under. I think they might be slightly better than last year, but I don't trust the coaching, so I hit that under.
Yep, I'm hitting under as well. What about the Wolves? 49.5 is what the Wolves
Over.
are set at.
Wolves are winning 50
I'm going
games.
over.
Over.
I would be, yes, 100% agree with you there. I would be absolutely shocked if we didn't win at least 50 games. Trying to think of just interesting teams here. Miami Heat, 48.5.
Under.
Really?
I don't trust their health long term. They cannot stay healthy throughout a season, and they're not that deep. Kyle Lowry's too old to be consistently effective, and Bam and Butler cannot stay healthy through a whole season very high level. They have not been successful in the regular season, even recently. Even when they were successful in the playoffs, their regular season record wasn't that good. So I'm going to go under.
I'm going to go over. They won 53 games last year. That would mean they would have to win 5 to 6 less games. I don't know. I think they're going to be still in that 50 to 53 range, I feel like. So I'm going to go over on the Heat. How about the Lakers? 45.5. God.
I mean, again, based on my standings, I have to go under, but part of me wants to take that over. I don't know. It's enticing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I have to take under based on my predictions. This is a team that went 33 and 49 last year. So they would have to win, 12 more games to do that. Which obviously, if they stay healthy, that is a possibility. Let's throw out a couple more of these lowly NBA teams, see how bad they could actually be, and then we will close up the episode. Oklahoma City Thunder, 23.5.
Under ski. They're trying to get Victor or Scoot.
Yeah, they're obviously in that boat with a lot of these teams here.
Especially with their number one pick out.
Right, exactly. Chet's not even going to play at all. They won 24 games only last year. They didn't really get any additions. None that come to my mind. Chet would have been the only one. So I'm going to go under on 23.5. They actually have the Spurs.
Will obviously get better, but
right, of course, like Giddey, Shai should be able to take another step forward, but still, they're just not deep enough. Don't have enough talent. The Spurs are actually the lowest, so we might as well end with them. 22.5. I'm going to go over. This is a team that always seem to be better than what they are. Just based because of Greg Popovich. Like he's that good of a coach. He's going to have those boys competing. I think ideally you would like them to be in the Victor hunt, or at least try to get the 2 pick so they can get Scoot. But I don't know. I can't picture them doing that. I just don't. I think the competitiveness will be there all season, given Greg Popovich.
Yeah, I'm going to go over as well. You can't pick the under on the lowest team. I mean, you can, but it's hard with a Popovich coach team. But their talent is really bad in comparison to other teams. So I'm going to half-heartedly pick the over.
Half-heartedly. What, dude? You don't have faith in Keldon Johnson?
That's my reaction to that.
Well, I just remember you not putting him in the future star category way back when we did NBA
in
tiers.
the future star category.
Oh,
yeah, he'll get some empty minute production on the Spurs. He's their best player. Blah 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 blah. Come on.
Whatever, Spinny. You're gonna have to eat those words this season. You will see. You will see. How many? What does he have to average for you to have some more faith in this?
20.
20?
Yeah.
All right, he'll do it. He'll do it.
20?
He averaged almost 17 last year.
All right.
He can jump 3 more, like you said. He's gonna get empty minute stats.
Might be 20. That's to be 20 on a good percentage, or 23,
okay.
22, 23 on a bad percentage.
Okay, that's fair. Well, Hearties and Hardos, that was our NBA special, NBA preview. We're excited for the season to get underway. At least I am, for sure. Love the Wolves' outlook this season. That'll be the biggest thing for me going forward. But yeah, we got 2 good games here coming tomorrow night, and then the rest of the teams start on Wednesday, I believe. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Spinny, do you have any other thoughts?
Nope. No other thoughts other than I think hot take for a preview for NFL, and with some insider information, I think the Broncos might continue to do worse than they think, and Russ might not figure it out. Might be a team chemistry issue in Denver.
And coaching, too.
Yep.
All right, y'all. We appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hug your friends and family.